one of the things I tell the kids first day is to go out and make as many mistakes as they can.
Well, welcome to this episode of Paideia Ponderings. I'm Dr. David Stanton, the headmaster of Oakdale Academy in Waterford, Michigan. And it's a pleasure to spend a few minutes today with my friend, Mr. Lou DiAntonio. Coach DiAntonio is the athletic director here at Oakdale, and we wanted to talk a little bit about athletics and how they fit into a classical Christian education here. So, Coach, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't we just start? Why don't you give us a little bit about your kind of background in sports, and then we can kind of take it from there.
Great. Hello to everyone. I have been involved in sports since I was 8 years old. My mother and father encouraged us, just like we encouraged our kids. Was fortunate enough to play collegiately. I have two daughters that also played collegiately. And when my wife was brought to Oakdale, it was a blessing for her and for myself, as I was the first basketball coach for the boys. And that was already 7 years ago.
Wow. What did you play in college?
I played baseball in college.
Played baseball. What position?
I caught and played third base.
Okay. I would love to say that my second base playing days up through 8th grade would equal that, but far from. So that's fantastic. When you think about athletics and what we do at Oakdale and what classical Christian education is, how do you think athletics factors into that?
Well, from day one, we've talked about character, truth, and wisdom. And what we do in athletics is we try to instill that in the kids, and we try to let them know that hard work pays off. And we often refer back to their parents and what they've sacrificed to get them to come here, and that they're going to have to sacrifice in athletics. And it's very gratifying to see a young boy or girl set a goal and succeed at it.
Yeah. And what's neat in the few games and practice that I've been able to see is to watch the two teams, whether they're playing a different school and or a scrimmage or something, the two teams kind of come together at center court, center field, and offer some time of prayer for each other and with each other. Can you give us an idea of how your coaches try and instill biblical values and truth into their players?
Yeah, as part of the Michigan Association of Christian Schools, the schools that we play are affiliated either with a church, but certainly through Christ. And the coaches know this, and all of our coaches are sound Christian young men and young women who have a passion not only for their athletes, but also for Christ. The kids see by example what we hope they aspire to be as young men and young women.
Great. When you think about how the kids participate, and today it's all about wins and losses and how my kid's going to get a college scholarship and all that. What are your feelings on how kind of the importance of sports in the overall education of a student?
There have been studies by many different groups. The positive influence sports have, not specifically on a college scholarship, but on learning, because endorphins are released and learning is easier and discipline sets in. So the kids from a very early age have to be disciplined, motivated, and goal-oriented. Probably less than 1% of the kids that play high school sports receive a college scholarship. We have a few here that may have the opportunity to do that and to go on to the next level. And we hope that what they take with them is what they've learned here at Oakdale.
We've swung so far to the other side that competition became a bad word in sports, so that we gave trophies to everybody for everything, whether you lost every game and every match you played in or whether you got the championship. There really wasn't a difference in the trophy in many ways. So, how do you feel as an athletic director you balance the need for competition and the need for keeping a win-loss record against, how we try and train students. I mean, there's certainly the importance of winning and losing and the lessons that are there, but how do you balance that with, we just don't want to pass out trophies to everybody?
Correct. We stand for truth, and one of the things I tell the kids first day is to go out and make as many mistakes as they can. And again, I try to relate back to their parents. If your parents hadn't made as many mistakes as they had made in their careers, they wouldn't be as successful as they are. So we have to measure wins and we have to measure losses as a yardstick, as a report card, so to speak, as to how they're doing and how they're achieving their goals.
You mentioned parents, and I think we've all experienced a parent, whether it was our own parents or parents that we saw that parent that is a little too involved in their sports, and their kid is going to be the next NBA, NHL, MLB star, and appreciate their aspirations for their kids. But how do you encourage parents' involvement in their kids' sports?
Well, I love to see the kids involved, and I love to see the parents involved. And just like I try to relate everything to school because that's what parents are most familiar with. If you have support for your child, you come to the games, the first person they're looking for is their mom or their dad. And it just gives them a peace in their soul to know that they're there. And most times kids know if they had a good game, if they had a bad game, and they don't need to be reinforced one way or the other. They just need to be loved, and they just need to know that they are doing everything they can to get better and that their mom and their dad are proud of them.
Yeah. It's really neat. One of the things that I've experienced here that I love that you planned was a kind of a father-son basketball game back in March, and just to watch the dads and their sons, and then the dads and their daughters as well prior to that, playing basketball together and just having a good old time. I'd love to say the dads and the staff won, but I don't think the scoreboard ever worked in our favor, even though we tried to help it along sometimes. But when you think about if you could create an athletic program from scratch, and whether it's what specific sports you would put, or just what big goals you would have for a brand new athletic program from a Christian perspective, what would you plan for?
Wow, that's a great question.
Thanks, man. I try and come up with some good ones.
The first thing that I would want is I'd want the parents to understand that it's okay for their kids to fail. Yeah. But at the same time, it's so vital that the parents know and the kids know that they're part of a team. And there's nothing more important than team. There are many instances where in today's world, we get bogged down with church and school activities and neighborhood activities and youth groups, and we want to do everything. But in order to succeed in life, we have to prioritize, and we have to stay committed to the things that we commit to. And it doesn't sound like the start of an athletic program. However, that foundation puts everything else together, because you have a group of people that are committed to a common cause. And when you have people that are committed, there's nothing that's impossible. It's the foundation of the program. As far as sports go, I love to see the girls starting to get involved. I would love to have more sports for the girls, maybe cross country, tennis, things like that. The boys, they're doing great in the sports that they have. Would love to expand our facilities. Unfortunately, that all takes money. And until we get everything else right and in place, I think we're at a great place right now.
Yeah. You bring up some interesting points as we wrap up our time together about the importance that sports plays, and then the concept that so many kids are doing everything. So, my encouragement to parents that are listening to this, or aunts and uncles, grandmas and grandpas that are happening to listen, is we certainly want to encourage children to do more than school, get involved in their church, their youth group, and athletics, but balance what is developing their character and balance what is helping them learn the truth in God's Word. And those things can be done in so many ways, but we want to balance that against what a student can handle. So, in a classical school and a Christian school, we try and balance the importance of we're not here to get your kid into college. We're here to give them a foundation in character, truth, and wisdom. We do that through athletics. We do that through academics. We do that through our house system or our student government. And it's imperative to us that we do that to prepare students for a life of service, and that can be done certainly through academics and absolutely through athletics. And as we close our time, I just want to thank you, Coach, for joining us and discussing your passion for athletics and all you do for the students, the parents here. It's been a pleasure spending a few minutes with you. Thanks so much for all you do.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to another great year.
Great. So thank you, everyone, for joining us on Paideia Ponderings for this episode. Again, I'm Dr. David Stanton, the headmaster at Oakdale Academy, and if you want to learn more about us, our athletic program that you've heard about, you can certainly check us out at www.oakdaleacademy.com, or you can email us any questions. Use the email address info@oakdaleacademy.com. Hope that you have a wonderful day, and look forward to sharing more thoughts and insights as to how classical Christian education is impacting the world for the Lord. Thank you.